All right. So, guys, I am so excited that you are on the call tonight. I am Emerald Ambassador Melissa Shaver, and we have such a special guest tonight. And Kim, I have to tell you that my team is so excited that you're on the call tonight. You're kind of a superstar in so many different ways. You guys, she's Emerald Ambassador Kim Pollock. Many of you know her as the holistic health coach, as far as I'm concerned. And Kim and I was thinking about this morning, Kim. I met her, and I don't know, you would probably know specifically the time of year. I started in September as an ambassador, and I don't know if it was that fall that I met Kim or if it was the beginning of the spring of 2014. But I specifically remember she had an opportunity meeting at her apartment complex. Well, it's her condo or wherever she lived in Uptown in Dallas. Really, really cool space. And it was her and Rosalind and Becky Page and Rachel Nagel drove in for it. And it was my kind of first situation like that. I drove all the way down there to be a part of it. And guys, I was all in after that meeting. The professionalism of Kim, the way her posture, who she is, her experience, her expertise in everything that she does, the stories that I heard that night, I was all in, and I kind of had a huge girl crush on Kim. So we have become sweet friends, and have kind of just, the Lord has blessed us to be able to kind of do this together from afar. She is actually in Colorado. She's going to share that with you. So I met her in Dallas, but then she and her husband moved. And I think for many of you on the call tonight, she's kind of been our mentor, and we've learned a great deal from her. And so I'm just excited that you said yes. And I've kind of got my pen and paper out. I'm ready to learn from a great teacher. So I'm just going to hand it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Melissa. Wow, I'm going to tear up here. That was amazing. And I remember that night so well in Dallas and Uptown because there were a lot of diamonds and jewels in the making. Ambra Volbada was there and Caroline Presley was there. And it was just such a fun night. But I love to talk about nutrition. I love to talk about health. I love to talk about wellness. So it's fun, which makes it even better. So I'm super excited to talk to you guys tonight. We're going to dive into some business stuff, and we're going to dive into some nutrition stuff, of course, because I can't not talk about diet and nutrition. And how cool is it that we are in a company that is so focused on both health and happiness, and how gut health ties in. Just a beautiful thing. So I made a little presentation, and I'm going to share that in a moment, but just wanted to, for a couple minutes, spend some time on my story. Some of you may know me. Some of you may have no idea who I am. So I just want to make sure that you understand a little bit about me before we dive in to the nuggets. All right. So I got into health and wellness because of my mom. My mom was diagnosed with cancer, stage 4 ovarian cancer in 2006, and I became her primary caregiver. She was really smart, y'all. She was like, before any green juicing and smoothing was ever talked about, she was like wanting to do that to heal her body. And I, at the time, thought I was super healthy. I was drinking Diet Coke. I was eating my candy corn. I was avoiding fat, right? No fat. I'm not eating any fat. I'm going to count calories. I'm going to exercise. I'm a normal weight. I feel good. And boy, was I wrong. And my mom really helped me to become passionate about holistic health, right? That's food is our medicine. There is no need for prescription drugs if our body is running the way God intended it to run. And so many eye-opening experiences happened as I was taking care of my mom. She was forcing me to read all these books. We were like guzzling green smoothies because they tasted so bad. This was before there were all of these wonderful recipes, right? All these delicious recipes. We were like having chugging contests in the kitchen because they were so gross. But fortunately now there's lots of wonderful recipes and resources for anyone that wants to change their diet. And I really watched my mom's health soar, and she used supplements. She went to an alternative doctor. They gave her tons of supplements. Many of those ingredients are in Plexus supplements, which is one of the reasons why I said yes to my sponsor, Andrea Mitchell. But my mom had a tragic event happen in her life, so she went into remission because of that amazing diet overhaul. And was in remission for 5 years, which with a stage 4 ovarian cancer diagnosis is one of God's greatest gifts, that I got those 5 years with her. A tragic event happened in her life. She went back to her old ways of eating lots of sugar, lots of processed carbs. Her cancer came back. And the second time around, it was not so pleasant. And I basically watched my mom die in front of my very eyes. And that was the life-changing moment where I knew I had to get out of advertising sales. I had a very successful career in the corporate world. I owned my own company, was very driven, ambitious, kind of focused on money, right? So this event in my life positioned me to take the road that God really wanted to shake me and say, this is your purpose. And so, yeah, my purpose is now to educate people, to motivate people, to encourage people. And I never knew that encouragement was like biblical. I remember being in Dallas, and our preacher was talking about how the characteristic of encouragement was in so many of the people that taught Jesus's word. And I was like, whoa, this is important stuff that I'm doing. I'm able to encourage people. That's kind of one of my gifts. And so I just decided to jump into health coaching, to become a certified coach, and to try and help people full time, which is my absolute passion. And then bringing Plexus in was so great because that provides the money, right? I was making 6 figures in my advertising world. I didn't want to give that up, right? And so how incredible was it that Plexus came along right at the moment where I was like, well, what am I going to do for money? Like, I'm doing this health coaching thing, and I'm still got one little foot in advertising, but I want to get out. And my friend Andrea Mitchell, who is a Diamond ambassador, told me how much she was making. And I was like, what? That's great. And so I decided to take the products. It was 2 years after I lost my mom, and I had just lost 3 additional family members right around Christmas. I remember it so clearly. My grandfather passed away, my husband's grandmother passed away, and then my uncle passed away within 30 days of each other. We were literally at 3 funerals on the East Coast before and after Christmas. It was a really low point in my life. And although I was a holistic health coach, I knew what to do. You better believe I was shoving my face full of sugar because I used to be a sugar addict. Candy corn was my BFF. Thought that was a vegetable. It's not. And so I called Andrew and I was like, fine, I'll try this Plexus stuff because I'm feeling really, really awful and I don't know what else to do. And I can't motivate myself to do the things I know I'm supposed to be doing, which was juicing and green smoothies and all of that sort of stuff. So my life completely turned around when I took those products. I started with the triplex. It wasn't even called the triplex then. And then I also did accelerator, and my sugar cravings decreased dramatically. My husband thought I was a crazy person because I could be around sweets and not eat them. I got my mojo back. I was kind of really excited about life again instead of feeling a little bit down in the dumps. You know, those grief bursts come and go and they really grab you. And I wanted to be my energetic, positive self. So Plexus really helped me get there. And because of the success the products had to share, love to share things. And so I started sharing with all of my health coaching clients, and the rest is history. It took me about 1.5 years to get to Emerald. And I've been Emerald for a bit, for a couple of years now. And, at first as a go-getter, that really frustrated me. But God has taught me patience. And I've never really had a lot of patience, so it's been fun learning patience. Anyone else impatient? But life's struggle makes us stronger, right? And that's so critically important, especially when you're in network marketing with the business. So let's dive in. I'm going to share my screen. And what I've prepared for you tonight are 5 tips to improve your business and your health. So this is the overall big picture. It's really to have a plan. If you don't know where you're going and you don't have a plan to get there, you're just going to kind of be winging it, and success doesn't happen by chance. Developing relationships is so important, but you need to be a farmer, not a hunter. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Personal development is critical. In order to attract people to your Plexus team, you have to become the best version of yourself. And that is not perfection, y'all. We're not, look, don't be perfect, right? You want to be authentic, not perfect. But this is about being someone that other people are excited to follow and to feel motivated by and encouraged by. 4th is using nutrition. Plexus is just one tool. And in order for you to go out and be a light and an encouragement in this world, you have to fuel your body with the proper nutrition. Plexus is not enough. I love Plexus. I mean, I am the biggest Plexus happy person out there, but it's not enough. You've got to do more. So remember that Plexus is a tool and nutrition is just as important. And then last but not least is be more vulnerable. So many of us have built a business on Facebook, and Facebook sort of becomes our highlight reel. So I think it's important to really show people that you struggle too. And I know whenever I share my struggles, that's when I get the most connection with people, not just on social media, but in person and on one-to-ones as well. So let's dive into each one of these. Let's first start with creating a plan. Where are you at? What are your points at? What rank are you at? And where do you want to go, right? So maybe your plan is to get to diamond and you're gold. Well, there's a lot of steps in between, right? So instead of focusing on diamond, let's focus on the next step, which is senior gold. How are you going to get there? You've got to do some math. You've got to strategize with your upline. You've got to figure out how many points you need to get to the next step. You have to map it out. What's feasible? How many new ambassadors can you add per month? Yourself recruiting and then your team recruiting. What does that look like? It needs to be a stretch, but it also needs to be realistic. It's probably unlikely that you're going to go from senior ruby to emerald in 1 month. That would be hard. I love you if you want to do that. That's amazing. So being realistic is important, but it also needs to push you. So if you don't have a plan, if you haven't done the math to know where your points are right now, and know the points that you need to get to, and dividing that out by however many months it might take you, super important to be there. You've got to have an awareness of where you're at. Sometimes in network marketing, we move forward and then we go backwards, and then we put blinders on. We're like, I don't want to go in the back office. I don't want to see what it is, right? So take your blinders off, figure out where you are, and just own it, right? A lot of my ambassadors that have been with me for a couple years have a lot of white lines in their back office. And to that I say, fantastic. Like, you need a lot of white lines to get to diamond. So you're there. Embrace that versus dwell on it. So once you have a plan, then it's time to get out there and get those prospects going, right? We've got to continue to recruit. I had, a long time ago, I had a graphic designer create this roadmap. And this is a culmination of a lot of network marketing books, but at the bottom, you'll find all of these little tips. So the starting line is your prospect, right? They might become a customer, they might become an ambassador, and the end is they either join your team or sign up as a customer. And along the way, there's lots of little things that we need to be doing. It's very rare that you meet a person, that you tell them about Plexus, and then they sign up. Wouldn't that be nice? Usually it's them ignoring you when you follow up and saying they're going to buy and then they don't, right? So it's important that we're constantly exposing people to Plexus over time. It doesn't happen overnight. You need to be a farmer, not a hunter. So the person that you are focusing on to either become a customer or an ambassador, they shouldn't be a piece of meat to you. They shouldn't be like, I want that person on my team. Rather, with a farmer mentality, you're asking yourself, well, how could Plexus add value to this person's life? What is the problem that this person is dealing with that I could provide a solution to, right? So building trust, listening to the person that you're talking to Plexus about, complimenting your prospect. A great way, this needs to be genuine, people, don't make it up, but a great way to instantly build trust is to compliment somebody. I always love to give compliments and they're always super authentic, but I never miss an opportunity to make someone feel good. And that builds instant trust with people. So really come forward and listen, right? God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, listen twice, right? I have a really hard time with that, you guys. So I want you to know, I feel you. If you're a talker like me, learning to shut the mouth and just listen, it's so valuable. And as I get older, I'm becoming better at this, but that's something that I've really, really had to work on. So how do we get someone from point A to point B? We've got so many resources, you guys, especially being on Melissa's team. She is amazing. And we have so many things at Plexus now that we didn't, used to have. I always hate saying that because then I think back to when like our parents said, oh, well, I had to walk to school, right? It's kind of like that. But we didn't have anything in the beginning, I promise. But you can send them a link to watch a Plexus video. All those shareables in our back office. You can invite them to an in-person event. That is how Melissa became a part of Plexus. Events are invaluable. I know that it can be challenging to actually get somebody to go to an event, but if you can accomplish that feat, they will leave as your customer or as your ambassador. Do a 3-way call. There's nothing better than edification by a third party. Meet with them one-on-one. Ask them to go to lunch. Seek out their opinion, their advice. Let them know that you admire them and you would love their POV on your business. Invite them to a webinar. I try to do at least 1 webinar per month. We have so many other health and wellness folks in Plexus. There are constantly online events that you can be inviting people to. You can email folks a link to listen to a recorded call. You can mail people samples. So there's so many things you can be doing from start to finish to build relationships with people and to give them helpful exposures to Plexus overnight. Be very, very patient. It takes time and it's a roller coaster. It's going to go up and down, and that is network marketing. And the best thing that you can do for yourself is just try to be even keel, right? Don't get too excited if someone signs up and don't get too low when someone quits. If you can just like, yeah, that's great, right? Hard to do, but important from an emotional perspective, right? So next up is personal development. And I know that every single one of you have probably heard about the importance of personal development. And it's easy to skip this part, right? Because we're so busy, we're juggling so many things. But I promise you, if this step is skipped, then down the road, there is going to be a huge break in your business because until you become the best version of yourself, you may or may not be equipped to handle the success that comes in your future. So do this first. I promise it will be so helpful to your future self. But knowing what your purpose is so incredibly important, because as network marketers, we get a lot of judgment, we get a lot of criticism, we get a lot of negative feedback because of some of the incorrect perceptions about network marketing. So if you know your purpose and you are driving your bus forward, ain't nobody gonna stop you, right? That judgment, oh, who cares? Oh, doesn't matter. I'm living on purpose. I'm doing my thing. And that will give you such a leg up as you move forward in your business. And when you change your inner world, right, your life, and your outer world, those circumstances, those situations, the drama, everything will improve in parallel to one another. I use the Miracle Morning, and I actually just started this. You know, when you hear about something and you're like, and then you hear about it again, and you're like, and it just keeps entering, and then finally you have a conversation with someone, you're like, okay, I'm gonna do it. That's what happened with me and the Miracle Morning. I was like, just kind of ignoring people posting about it, and then I had a conversation with someone using the whole program at Leaders Retreat, someone not even on my team, he's a sideline friend, and I was like, okay, I'm going to buy the book and I'm going to check this out because you were like the 100th person that has mentioned something about it. And I read the book from cover to cover in about 2 hours. I'm a very fast reader. And I was like, I'm doing it. And I loved it. I loved everything about it. The system is called Savers, and it's silence, meditation, prayer, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing, which is really writing and journaling, but the W wouldn't have worked in that acronym, so we used S for scribing, the author that is. And y'all, I mean, I do 10 minutes of each one of those in the morning. I get up an hour earlier. I get up at the crack of dawn, and the clarity, the focus, the centeredness, the amount of momentum that I'm feeling from doing this for just a short time has been life-changing and incredible. So if you're feeling stuck, because y'all, I have been feeling stuck, and you need some momentum in your life, on your team, check out the book, The Miracle Morning. I absolutely love it, and I'm encouraging everyone on my team to utilize it as their personal development plan. Now, if something else is working for you, if you have a plan for personal development, keep doing that. But find someone that you can follow that will breathe encouragement and positivity into your life, because you need it for this business. All right, so let's switch gears to nutrition. Yes, this is my favorite thing on earth. So the food that you feed your body will either make you super duper healthy and vibrant, or make you super duper grumpy and unhappy. Food has such a huge impact on how you feel and how you show up in the world. And one of the things that I love about Plexus is that it helps people to do what I tell them to do from a nutrition perspective. There's nothing more frustrating from a health coaching perspective than telling someone what to do and they just don't do it, right? I'm sure you feel that way all the time when your Plexus customers and ambassadors don't do what you tell them to do, right? So Plexus is so great because it helps decrease cravings for sugar and bad carbs, which I believe are the two most addictive substances in our food supply. My whole life purpose as a health coach is to help people dump sugar and bad carbs, okay? If you can decrease or eliminate those two addictive substances from your diet, I promise you, you will feel 10 years younger. Your energy will improve. You'll want to jump out of bed every day feeling so motivated to attack the world and your business, because sugar and bad carbs are destroying Americans' health. So I have a specific nutrition protocol that I use. It's called Bulletproof. It's similar to paleo. I did paleo for years, and I was actually vegan when I first started. So when I was taking care of my mom, we went vegan, and that was wonderful for healing the body if you have a major illness. I love going plant-based for a temporary period of time, but I love Bulletproof for so many reasons. Probably the number one reason is because the star of the show are healthy fats. And if you follow me on social media, you know I have an avocado obsession. I love avocados, y'all. I have an avocado pillow. I have an avocado necklace. I dressed up as an avocado for a leaders retreat. That's how dedicated I am to avocados. I eat at least one avocado a day, and I cry when I open an avocado that is yucky. You know how that feels? I'm just like, oh. But I probably have like 5 to 10 avocados on my countertop at all times. And maybe you don't like avocado, and that's totally cool. There are plenty of other healthy fats. But what I want you to know is that the majority of people are feeling like crap because they're not eating enough healthy fat. Our brains are made up of 60% fat. Who do you know that is forgetful? Who do you know that is looking for their phone and it's in their hand? Yeah, I'm guilty of that. That's happened to me before. Healthy fats, that's the cure, right? And secondly, our hormones run on fat. So if anyone you know has a hormonal imbalance, the first thing that I tell people is to eat more healthy fat. And I get it. There is fear surrounding healthy fat. I was totally a sucker for the fat-free phenomenon that happened in the 90s and the early 2000s. I was duped, probably like most Americans, and I started eating boxes of Snackable cookies because I thought that if I could eat the whole box of Snackable cookies and not get fat, that was the diet for me, right? But this is what happened. When that false information and research came out, which basically said if you eat saturated fat, you will get heart disease and die. That's false. His research was false. Food manufacturers started taking fat out of our food. And when you take fat out of food, it kind of tastes like crap. And so they added in sugar, because sugar tastes awesome. So people would still buy their food, right? So food manufacturers, based on the research, totally duped us and caused us to not only eat a low-fat diet, but to become addicted to sugar because it's in everything, right? They took the fat out, they added the sugar in. Here we are 30 years later as the most unhealthy country in the entire world. And people are suffering from cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's at alarming rates. It's not going down, it's going up. So I'm here to tell you that you can enjoy as much healthy fat as you want, because here's the thing about healthy fat. It's really hard to binge on healthy fat. The exception is if you're eating chips with guacamole, but it's really the chips, it's not the guac, it's those carbohydrates that cause you to want to keep eating and eating and eating, right? But the wonderful thing about healthy fats is our body really knows when to stop. And it's very, very difficult to have too much. So that's the great part about healthy fats. So eat more of those. Organic protein is really important, but protein is really an accessory in the Bulletproof protocol. We need moderate amounts of protein. I think most Americans are eating way too much protein. Please don't eat factory farmed meat. It's full of antibiotics and toxins that actually will stay in your fat. And when toxins are stored in your fat, then you will not be able to let go of fat, which is really annoying, especially if you want to lose weight. So protein is important. It fuels our body, but a lot of people are eating way too much protein. So moderate amounts of organic protein. And it doesn't really matter to me what kind of protein you eat. I am really supportive of any kind of diet, whether that's animal products or plant-based. I think there are benefits to both. But in general, here's what I've learned. People are eating way too much chicken. And here's why chicken could be contributing to hormonal dysfunction in women. So chicken has higher amounts of omega-6s. Too many omega-6s cause inflammation. Inflammation can lead to unstable blood sugar, which can disrupt your hormone function, right? So any inflammation in the body is going to cause havoc on our hormones and on our overall health. You've probably read or seen in the news that inflammation is really the major cause of disease in our world. So if you're eating chicken every single day, it's quite possible that your omega-6s are way too high. Now, the other thing that Americans are eating too much of that are high in omega-6s is oils, processed oils. Safflower oil, soybean oil, all these vegetable oils are added to crackers and chips and breads. You would be like a great exercise for you would be to go to Whole Foods or your grocery store, look at the ingredients of everything you buy, and I bet you 9 out of 10 of your items have processed oils in them. So you probably don't even know that you're eating way too many omega-6s. So all of these vegetable oils, most of them are GMO, and most of them are very, very inflammatory. So healthy fats, grass-fed butter, I love. Coconut oil, I love. Olive oil is great in moderation as well. Obviously, avocados. I eat a lot of coconut products, so shredded coconut. I love to eat. I actually buy the fresh coconuts at Whole Foods, and I crack them open, and I scoop out the coconut meat. So that's a great way to get healthy fats. Obviously, vegetables are super important. It's the only thing that nutrition experts agree on. Because here I am talking about the Bulletproof Diet, and there's probably another health expert on your Facebook page saying how the Bulletproof Diet isn't healthy, right? It's so annoying because you've got all these health experts that are saying, oh, vegan is best. Oh, no, paleo is best. Oh, no, South Beach diet. To the consumer, it's like, oh, I have no idea what to eat, right? And so that causes confusion, which causes people to just say, screw it. I'm just going to eat whatever because this is too hard. So I get that, and know that I chose this nutrition protocol because I feel the best on it. That doesn't mean that you will feel the best on it. Maybe something is different is better for your body. So just know that I am a non-judgmental health coach. I still eat ice cream. I still drink alcohol, right? I'm not perfect. I believe in moderation. If I restrict myself, then I go and binge. I am a super real person. And when I go on vacation, I have fun, right? But what I want to tell you is that you can never eat too many vegetables, and we all agree on that. So please eat as many vegetables as you can. That's super, super important. They're full of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. Finally, healthy carbs, y'all. You've probably seen the rise in popularity of the keto diet. Bulletproof is not keto. In fact, I believe that keto can be healthy, but it can also be unhealthy if you go too long without carbohydrates. Our body needs carbohydrates to function. And going on a ketosis diet can actually lead to adrenal fatigue if done long term. So that's a little bit of a difference between Bulletproof and keto. And then obviously the big difference between Bulletproof and paleo is that paleo focuses on meat as protein as the center, whereas Bulletproof focuses on healthy fats as the center. So the fun thing about Bulletproof and what I teach about in my 12-day detox is that we eat our carbs at night. That's weird, right? So most Americans start their day with carbs. They're eating toast, and maybe it's healthy toast. Maybe it's sprouted grains. I feel ya. Maybe it's a smoothie full of fruit, carbs, sugar, right? And you think you're doing all the right things, right? It's so frustrating. Unfortunately, when you start your day with carbs, your body's burning carbs, right? And you probably are like me and you want to burn fat. Right? Anyone want to burn fat? I know. I like, just put me in fat burning all day long. As I get older, I'm 41, by the way. That's like my focus. I'm like, I want to be more lean, right? I don't want to be skinny. I don't weigh myself, none of that stuff. But I want to be more lean. I want to build more muscle mass. I want to get rid of the stubborn little areas of fat. And so I'm a big fan when I can lose some fat. And a great way to do that and to stay in fat burning zone during the day is to not eat carbohydrates during the day, rather eat them at night. So I love sweet potatoes. I love berries. And there's even something really peculiar about the Bulletproof Diet that you'd be like, really? And that is, I don't want to go on a tangent because I know I need to be quiet soon. It's 8:07 here, 9:07 there. But white rice is allowed on the Bulletproof Diet. And I was taught that white rice is like the enemy, but brown rice actually has anti-nutrients in it, which is very difficult for the digestive system to absorb. And if you have an unhealthy gut, it can actually cause a lot of issues. So lots of fun things. If you want to learn more, I'd love for you to join my detox. It starts on November 6th. And I teach you all about the Bulletproof Program. You don't have to drink bulletproof coffee to be successful. We're getting rid of sugar, alcohol, processed carbs, and dairy for 12 days. It's going to be so much fun. All right, so I'm going to leave you with one last thought. And this really relates to everything in life, but particularly your plexus business. I encourage you to be vulnerable with people. So often when I scroll through my Facebook feed, I've got a lot of plexus friends. And if I don't accept your friend request, it's because I'm at my 5,000 limit. But please do follow me and connect with me because I want to hear from you. And if you do join my detox, I do go and unfriend people so I can add you because I have to add you to the Facebook group. So there is a workaround. But be vulnerable, show your imperfections, show your vulnerability, your rawness. Think about how people go through Facebook land just thinking everybody's life is perfect when in actuality they're struggling. You know, we all struggle. I'm struggling right now in so many areas of my life. I'm struggling to grow in my plexus business. I'm struggling in my personal life. My dad was just diagnosed with prostate cancer. My aunt has stage 4 ovarian cancer, which my mom had. Right. And so it's important that people know that your life isn't perfect. And it's such a great encouragement, I think, for people to know that you're right there with you. You know, you're right there with them. People connect to you more if you're real. And some people do this so well. It's hard for me to do because I am a bit of a perfectionist. And, you know, even though I live in Colorado, you can't take the Dallas out of the Dallas girl. I still full on makeup, you know, hair is done, right? There are some people that just get on and it doesn't matter. Yeah, I struggle with that. So, know that when you share your heart and when you share that you're struggling, other people will see that and connect with you versus you portraying this perfect life of, oh, I take plexus, my life is great, I'm always energetic, right? Like, no, people roll their eyes at that. At least I do, right? So my biggest tip, and I try to do this as often as I can on Facebook, is to really share something that I'm struggling with so people know that they're not alone, so people understand that the struggle makes you stronger. And life is full of ups and downs. Like, God gave us things to tackle because without issues, we wouldn't need him, right? And so it forces us to refocus on him and know that he is our strength. And it's really not about us, you know, it's really about helping others and motivating and inspiring, encouraging people. And so I really encourage you to do that and think about that as you're promoting your Plexus business, as you're talking about your life, to really be vulnerable and real with people, because they will definitely be attracted and excited about joining your team. I think that's just my opinion, when you're more real. And I try to encompass that in all that I do. So thank you so much for having me on tonight. I don't know if we have time for questions or not. If so, Melissa, I'm happy to answer any, or if not, we can meet on Facebook and I can answer any questions there.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. That was amazing. I'm going to turn off our recording.